The following video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor, broker, registered investment professional. Always do your own research. Consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions, and my past performance is not indicative of future results. Again, please do your own research. I am not a professional. And in this following video, I am indeed short this stock. I do have an active position in it. And if you find this video entertaining and like the content, please like and subscribe for the video. All right, this is my 8 reasons why you should be short Aeluma semiconductors, I believe is what they call this company, but honestly, it's just smoke and mirrors. Or what would you call it from the early days of in the movie Wolf of Wall Street? You'd call it Aerotine International. But anyways, let's get into it. Okay, first off, it's business markets. So right away, you can see this screenshot that I have from directly from the website. And then on the left here, I listed out all the different business markets. This company plans to go after 7 different business markets. On the left there, you see that I listed 6 of them and all the other different companies that are in those markets. If you are anyone with any real business experience, you go after one market and you build a product to solve that one market, and then you pretty much go after that whole market. This company wants to go after 7 of the largest different markets in the world. And then keep in mind, I just wrote down all the different large absolute juggernauts in this space. Just to even start out with, Samsung and Sony are the largest companies in mobile. Lumentum and Coherent both just got added to the S&P 500 when it comes to AI and photonics. Intel, IR Labs, and Celestial AI, all those other companies are worth $1 billion plus. Aerospace and defense, you got Raytheon Sensors, Teledyne, Leonardo, L3Harris. All of these companies, I can continue reading on list by list, but all of these companies are multi-billion-dollar juggernauts with hundreds of employees that are all more tech adapt than this company. So my first grievance is that if you are anyone who understands business and startups, you don't go after 7 markets, you go after one market, and you have a product that's usually ready to go. This company has yet to figure out a product, which I will get into later. But anyways, my first reason why is just the business markets. Okay, number 2, this company only has around 11 to 15 employees, and the easiest ways to just bring this up is you can go over to Crunchbase and here it is, 11 to 50, the head count. On LinkedIn, it says the same thing, but honestly, I don't believe it's more than 15. If you're going after all of these different markets that are talked about here, you can't do that with 11 to 15 employees, and I'll get that into one of my last points. But this guy here, Nick Nemeth, he goes over this.
We're visiting Aluma's headquarters
pretty well.
I think today I'm just going to walk right in, see if they'll give me a tour. Ooh, good morning, Aeluma. Working hard? We're hardly working. What do you know? It's 8:30 in the morning. There's not a single person in here. Excuse me, sensing what? I think we have the first employee showing up at just after 8:30. Ooh, interesting. I'm
going to link that video down in the description so you can watch it for yourself. But essentially, only 2 employees show up. One of them leaves and calls the cops on him and asks the police to leave the property. Usually when you're a high developing defense company, you're fine giving press tours and setting up media interviews, so on and so forth. They didn't do this here. Number 3, insider selling. This is one of the bigger ones. So as you can see from the graph here, you just have all straight selling. Since this company got uplisted to the NASDAQ in March of 2025, you only have sales coming from the CEO, directors, 10% shareholders, everyone is selling this stock. And especially as it goes higher, they just continue selling this stock. There has not been one insider purchase since the uplisting of March 2025. So that's my third point. It's just pure insider selling. Now, this is probably one of my favorite metrics is the insider selling relative to research and development. So the company has spent around $9 to $10 million right here. So we're just gonna, I guess, check mark that twice. They spent around $9 to $10 million on research and development to develop their photonics, to go after the 7 different markets that they want to go after. But guess what? When you add up all of these stock sales right here, you get to $26.8 million. they're selling shares that are the equivalent of 2 times the amount of they're selling as they're investing in research and development. To me, that's a massive red flag. Pretty self-explanatory there. This one's one of my favorite ones. Stock photos on the website. So if we just go and scroll up to the website, this is just the simple about page. We can just go back to their homepage too and see this in a second. But like, I don't know where this image is from, but just note this image here, this image here. Then we'll just go flip the about section. Note these images here. If you just go and Google wafer manufacturing, okay, there's that one image right there. Same image. You know what? We'll split these views so you can see it. Oops. Actually, we'll just do it that way. Okay, so there's one image there. As you scroll down, that one's a super common one. It's photos on the website are stock photos. None of them are legitimate photos of the company building, manufacturing their devices at all. Which is just really sad because it's all fake. Anyways, let's get back to our slide here. All the photos on the website are stock. Number 6, public and private. Why are they even a public company? It's really just to sell shares in the market. This screenshot here I have on the left, this 13, this offering, this is an SEC filing document for when they originally were listed on back in 2022 onto the OTC markets before in 2025 they got uplisted. Here you can see that they only sold 1.5 million shares into the market. They had 2.5 that were unsold. So even during the 2022 market, you couldn't even fulfill, like the appetite for this offering just wasn't made. And you could, I guess, there's a lot of different variables that could go into that. But when you understand this company from a private and public perspective, if they were a real private company, if you had real tech, you would wait to capitalize on the huge economic opportunity. If I have this insane invention or this new breakthrough in technology, I am gatekeeping that for as long as I can, and you see this in the private markets. Anthropic, OpenAI, for other reasons, I mean, to avoid some public scrutiny in terms of like being financially public. But anytime you have a huge technical advancement, you were staying private for a really long period of time. In SpaceX, Anduril, I could go down a list of names here, but essentially the company's public just to raise money from the private or from silly retail investors. Number 7 is just the grant funding. So they're using this as a marketing stunt, which is smart. I mean, if you want to fool retail, tell them that you get in government sponsorships, which doesn't mean anything, by the way. Companies go all bankrupt all the time if they have government funding. But they have $25 million raised from the government so far. Now, to understand that from a market perspective, Light is Lumentum and Co is Coherent. These companies are both multiple billion-dollar companies, and they recently got into the S&P 500. They were added into the index. Both of these companies have spent over $1 billion research and development in terms of developing their photonics and their semiconductors. Another company, A-Lab, spent over $125 million developing their technology, but they did it with 400 employees over the 2 years to get to their product. And both of these companies are well within the $1 billion market caps. But it's funny to me that they're using this $25 million that they granted from, or that were given from the government, or I'm sorry, from the government to Aeluma in the form of grants as $25 million. But in actuality, you need like a few $100 million to potentially even develop a product that shows that it's working, that can then eventually scale to the manufacturing specifications that a foundry would then partner you with. So again, to me, the grant funding is bearish because you need so much more money to get to where you need to get to. And then my last point, this is pretty subjective, and this comes from a mental standpoint of, I guess, experiences that I've realized. The entire background is professor. It's all academic. If you are to be developing a startup, a revolutionary breakthrough technology, I would prefer that you have some general business sense of how relationships are done, how game theory works, how to hire and fire. There's a lot of different human psychology elements that go into moderating people to make sure people work together correctly. This guy doesn't have any experience regarding to building a product, sales. Have this high of a academic background and then you try to do a startup. It's not that it can't work, it's that there's two different mental frameworks. One is a risk-adverse mental framework, and the other one is a risk-taking one. And all the way back to 2022, so I guess, I'm sorry, not 25, 24 years of being a professor. I don't know if you can make the brain flip to be a serial entrepreneur, tech founder in the 2026 arms race of AI. So anyways, that is my presentation on my 8 reasons why I am short Aeluma. So the ticker is ALMU, and I am shorting this currently with naked calls, anywhere between the $15 to $17.50 on multiple monthly expirations. I haven't really bought too many puts yet because I don't like the volatility in the puts, and I believe they're a little bit expensive. So I'm short shares, and I'm a naked short some calls right now. Where would my thesis change? If this company somehow got a foundry partner, I would immediately cover and I would take my losses. But right now, this looks like smoke and mirrors. So, anyways, if the company is legit, come out and get a foundry partner and show some tests and yield results and so on and so forth on your wafers, and maybe change your stock photos because it looks bad. But anyways, that's my presentation.